Advanced techniques, threat modeling for proactive design. Traditional risk assessment often looks at existing systems. Threat modeling is a proactive technique used during the design and development phase or applied to existing systems to identify potential threats and security flaws before they are built or exploited. It helps you think like an attacker. Purpose: to systematically analyze a system, application, or process to identify potential threats, vulnerabilities, and missing controls early in the life cycle when they are cheaper and easier to fix. Process overview. 1. Define what you're modeling, understand the system, application, its components, data flows, trust boundaries, and assets. Diagrams like data flow diagrams, DFDs, are often used. 2. Identify threats. Use structured methods to brainstorm potential threats relevant to the system's components and data flows. Common methodologies include STRIDE, a popular Microsoft model categorizing threats based on attacker goals, spoofing, impersonating someone, something else, tampering, modifying data or code illicitly, repudiation, denying having performed an action, information disclosure, exposing sensitive information, denial of service, making a system unavailable, elevation of privilege, gaining higher access levels, PASTA, process for attack simulation and threat analysis, a more comprehensive, risk-centric methodology involving multiple stages, attack trees, hierarchical diagrams breaking down attacker goals into specific steps, identify vulnerabilities and mitigations, determine how the identified threats could be realized vulnerabilities, and identify existing or needed controls mitigations for each threat. Document and iterate, record the findings and integrate mitigation actions into the development process. Threat models should be revisited as the system evolves. Value: helps build security in from the start, shift left, reduces vulnerabilities in production, prioritizes security efforts during development, and improves overall system security posture. Applying STRIDE to a new mobile banking app feature during design, for instance, could identify risks of users being spoofed or data being tampered with before coding begins. Advanced techniques: attack surface management, ASM. Your organization's attack surface consists of all the points where an unauthorized user, an attacker, can try to enter data into or extract data from an environment. Attack surface management, ASM, is the continuous process of discovering, inventorying, classifying, and monitoring these potential entry points. Purpose: to gain complete visibility into your organization's internet-facing assets and potential exposure points, including known and unknown or shadow IT assets. You cannot protect assets you are unaware of. Why it's critical today: dynamic environments, cloud adoption, remote work, IoT, and rapid development constantly change the attack surface. Shadow IT: employees or departments often deploy systems or cloud services without IT's knowledge, creating hidden risks. Mergers and acquisitions, integrating networks can expose previously unknown assets. Process overview, discovery. Use automated tools and reconnaissance techniques similar to those used by attackers to continuously scan the internet for assets associated with your organization: domains, subdomains, IP addresses, certificates, open ports, cloud services, code repositories. Inventory and classification, catalog discovered assets, identify owners, determine their business purpose, and classify their sensitivity. Security assessment: analyze the security posture of discovered assets, run vulnerability scans, check configurations, look for exposed credentials or sensitive data. Monitoring and remediation: continuously monitor the attack surface for changes, new assets, new vulnerabilities, and prioritize remediation efforts based on risk. Value: reduces the risk of attackers exploiting unknown or unmanaged assets, provides crucial input for vulnerability management and risk assessment by ensuring you have a comprehensive view of your potential weaknesses. It directly supports the identify function of frameworks like NIST-CSF. ASM is particularly relevant in dynamic business environments where digital footprints expand rapidly. Risk prioritization: focusing your efforts. A thorough risk assessment will likely identify numerous risks. However, organizations have limited resources, time, budget, personnel. Therefore, you must prioritize which risks to address first. Prioritization should be directly driven by the assessment results. Methods for prioritization. 1. Risk level score. The most common method is to rank risks based on the overall level determined during the assessment, e.g., address all critical risks first, then high, etc., based on the risk matrix, or rank by highest, ALE, for quantitative assessments. 2. risk matrix, heat map, visually identify the risks falling into the highest severity zones, e.g. top right corner of the matrix, high impact or high likelihood, and target those first. 3. Criticality of assets. Factor in the importance of the asset affected. A moderate risk to a highly critical system, e.g. core banking application, might be prioritized over a high risk to a less critical system. 4. Risk velocity. Consider how quickly a risk could manifest and cause damage. A high velocity risk might need more immediate attention even if its overall score is slightly lower than a slow burning risk. 5. Compliance requirements. Risks related to non-compliance with mandatory regulations like NDPA or specific CBN directives often need immediate prioritization due to legal and financial consequences. 6. Costs versus benefit. While prioritizing, consider the cost and feasibility of mitigation options, linking back to risk treatment options from Module 3. Focus on treatments that provide the most significant risk reduction for a reasonable effort or cost. The goal of prioritization is to ensure that your limited resources are applied in the most effective way to reduce the organization's overall cybersecurity risk exposure, focusing on the threats that pose the greatest potential harm first. The prioritized list directly informs the risk treatment plan documented in your risk register. In this crucial module, you explored the methodologies behind cybersecurity risk assessment and analysis. You learned the fundamental differences between qualitative, using descriptive scales and matrices, and quantitative, using numerical, often monetary values like S, LE, and ALE approaches, understanding the pros, cons, and ideal use cases for each, including hybrid strategies. We revisited methods for gathering assessment inputs, detailing how vulnerability scanning, penetration testing, threat intelligence, and audits or log reviews provide essential data on threats and weaknesses. You walk through a practical step-by-step process for conducting a risk assessment, from defining scope to documenting findings in the risk register. Furthermore, you were introduced to advanced proactive techniques, threat modeling, analyzing systems during design using methods like STRIDE and attack surface management, ASM, continuously discovering and monitoring all potential exposure points. Finally, you learned various methods for prioritizing risks based on assessment results, risk scores, asset criticality, risk velocity, compliance needs, ensuring that treatment efforts are focused where they matter most. Armed with these assessment techniques, you are now equipped to not only identify, but also systematically evaluate and prioritize cybersecurity risks. In Module 5, we will shift our focus to the C in GRC, the complex landscape of compliance and regulatory requirements.